If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat, literally. But don't sweat it, Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Thank you for being part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. Stay tuned for another episode. This is the 12 Kyle podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, what we're going to talk about is taking less money. In other words, taking a pay cut. Should you ever take a pay cut? And if you do, how would you handle it? I came to this idea because I'm always surfing on the internet, and I came across an article. Well, I'd heard rumblings about it, but I wasn't sure. At the time of this recording, and you don't even necessarily have to be a basketball fan to have heard the story, but the guard from the New York Knicks in the NBA, Jalen Brunson, has had a phenomenal career, just came off career high season. He just renegotiated his contract with the New York Knicks, his employer, a team that didn't draft him, but a team that had traded for him. He just signed one of the most quote unquote team friendly contracts in NBA history. Now, he signed a 4-year, $156 million deal with the Knicks. But if he had waited one more year, so played this upcoming season out and hit free agency, he would have been able to sign a 5-year deal for $269 million. And thus, he left, quote unquote, $113 million on the table. And so, because I don't necessarily talk about sports all the time, but I got my boy in here, and he's a hooper first and foremost, a former hooper, big NBA fan, fellow podcaster. My man DMurph is in the building. Murph, what up, man?
What up? What up? What up? Hey, man, out here working, man, with 12 Kyle, everybody's favorite podcaster, your favorite podcaster's podcaster.
Tell them.
If you listen once, you're going to tune in again. And at the time of this recording, it's not changed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm glad to be here, brother. I'm glad we're able to do this. I love this.
For sure, man. We were talking, and I just thought about it. I was like, man, this Murph would be the perfect person to talk about this, because not just from the basketball standpoint, but we're businessmen as well. We make decisions in our lives, and everything. I'm not going to say revolves around money, but money is a factor in what we do. Sure. So let's just talk off the court, and we'll talk about Brunson, and then we'll kind of correlate it to the common man. What did you think when you heard that Brunson, who earned the contract, don't get me wrong, he earned the contract. But what did you think about him taking a quote unquote team friendly deal?
I like Jalen Brunson's game.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a talk for the last year and a half. I don't think he's a superstar. I'm not saying he took that contract because he didn't believe it either.
Mm-hmm.
Take it while it's hot, young man. Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, they kind of in that same, are you a superstar?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a megastar?
Right.
I love Brunson's game.
Mm-hmm.
For me, certain attributes makes you a superstar. And I just think Brunson just has a good game, a great game, but not the intangibles to where he can bring New York a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So he left Dallas for playing time.
Right.
He got everything he wanted in New York. To his defense, why would you leave? If I don't take this contract, I don't think that I'll be able to get it again. And we just signed Bridges from the Nets. I got my two other wing mates from Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamics is going to change. No matter what you might think or might say, the dynamic will change. Take the money, in this case, while you're hot. You don't want to be a Dennis Schroeder from the Lakers. For those who don't know, look it up. They was about to pay this man over $100 million, the LA Lakers. He turned it down and ain't made that money since.
He bet on himself and crapped out.
So Jalen Brunson, I love your game. You know as well as I know. And for the listeners like Murph Brunson, that dude, I'm not saying he's not. But that team friendly, if he would have did the same thing anywhere else, they wouldn't have paid him that.
Okay. So, and I feel where I totally get where you're going.
In my opinion.
I see where you came from and I see where you're going. I'm digging what you're putting down. On the flip side of it, Murph, so you're saying that you think that he did the right thing in taking the contract in hand as opposed to waiting until next year?
Absolutely. I don't think now with Bridges, another Iron Man, another highly valued guy, and they all play the same position.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. What if Brunson, okay, so he has more players, so you tend to think that his numbers probably won't be as high as they were this past
because
season.
They play similar positions. But if you had a center or someone that was not the same position as you, that increase, not only does that increase your chance, in my opinion, from experience, to win a championship, but that will also put you in a position where you can still do what you've been doing.
Right.
But now you got another guard in Bridges.
Right.
Hart, the Italian guy.
Yeah.
And then Brunson. Small ball.
Yeah, small ball, DiVincenzo.
And then I'm looking at Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
So
you, but okay, so let me.
Those are my factors.
No, I know. I totally get it, Murph. So to the listeners listening right now at home or watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. They're saying, Murph, why would you leave $113 million on the table? You're never
because I'm not
going
to have that same season next year.
But what if you do? You can't get $113 million back.
I agree with that. So, like you said earlier, we're businessmen. Look how many people add incentives to their current contract. I'm sure they can add some incentives, but to your point, you still left money. All money ain't good money, though. All money ain't good money. I'm going to just say that. Take what you can, because the dynamic of the team with Bridges and you losing the center y'all had, who was setting picks for you, Brunson. Just take the money while you can.
So and I want to kind of transition real quick to the common man or woman who is listening to this, because, none of us, unless you're King Germ or Dolomite, or Baylor, we can't relate to $1 million contracts, right? I'm speaking of my $1 million podcaster friends, but for the common man or common woman, taking a pay cut can mean a lot, because here's the thing I always say about money. Right now, particularly in this economy, at the time of this recording, everything is going up with salaries. Gas prices are going up. It costs $12 to get a pack of eggs. Milk, you got to take out a second mortgage to get some milk. You got to sell crack to get some orange juice.
Necessities.
Like necessities. That we ain't even talking about hamburgers. So
right.
Things are, everything, like I said, everything is increased. So what about Mr. Lewis, who is working and been working at his company for 5 years, and they say, hey, Mr. Lewis, we need to, we got to make some change. We got to make some cuts. So we're going to take you from 65,000 to 45,000. What do you say then? Is it worth it?
So are you asking me so I can talk now? I want to make sure I want to be rude.
No. Floor is yours. My bad.
I want to backtrack.
Okay.
So with the Brunson thing, I'm going to get back to make it generalized.
I know you will.
If he did take that extra money, you basically saying, New York, I'm guaranteeing a championship. If you look at the Boston Celtics, again, this is off the dome, y'all. Mm-hmm. Me and Kyle, he'll tell you, I'm locked in. Jalen Brunson and Jason Tatum got their contracts after they won these championships. Mm-hmm. Or they was going to the finals.
Right.
Do you think the Boston Celtics is going to lose that momentum to the Knicks? Jalen Brunson, we pay you this money, you gonna guarantee you gonna knock them Boston Celtics out. If not, you better be safe with that friendly, because the city of New York, they want that championship. Again, smart decision, young man. Mm-hmm. Back to Mr. Lewis. A $20,000 pay cut is tough.
It is, because you can see the difference in your check. If you tell me you're going to take 1,000 from me, I might not see that. That might be gas money, but 20 grand? Oh no.
So
you're going to feel that.
I'll tell my story.
Okay.
If that's okay for you and the listeners.
Because trust me, I got a story too.
When I was in logistics, multi-unit management, mm-hmm. between my salary, my benefits, close to 6 figures. Mm-hmm. I'm in the field of education, Kyle.
Talk to him.
Who in education making 6 figures or close? Generally speaking, unless you've been there for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, you had been there for a while.
Just to say. But for me, my health, my ability to live life, and to be able to give back. When I was in the field of logistics, making as much money as I've ever made, you saw the car I drive. It's nice. Mm-hmm. Yes. We can go out anywhere. Hey, Kyle, drinks on me.
Right.
My kids are good. I'm good. Family's great. But I was inconsistent when I was around for decades, for at least a decade. I made the decision. And that's another thing. My schedule was inconsistent because of my position. I had to fill in holes, whether people got promoted, demoted. We know Murph can handle a big group and still provide the results that we need so we can get our bonus checks. Me, I said, fuck your bonus checks. I have an opportunity to live my life and not focus on money, because I have a daughter that's in high school. If I sound like I'm choking, I'm really something in my throat. But I have a daughter in high school that needs her daddy. Not knowing when I made that decision to go to education to take a pay cut. Mm-hmm. So I'm finding ways to coach, drive the bus, certain subject. Like, I'm going to still find ways now. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a will.
But the point is, my intent was to be there for my family. And once I ultimately made that decision to make a pay cut without finding loopholes to earn extra income, my child, my firstborn, decided I want to come move with my daddy because he has time to spend with me. And it's not about, oh, mama, I got to go get this money so you can get school clothes so we can go on this trip. And I probably won't see you for another 3 to 4 or 5 months. So it depends on what your intent is. That sometimes, at least in my case, taking less money was something I prayed about for a long, long time.
Yeah, man.
And she a senior this year too.
Yeah.
So scholarships, recruiting visits, dances, knuckleheads. Hey,
you got to get it.
Hey, anyway, wrong show.
But no, we had those conversations, man. We had those conversations
we
off
did.
air about whether you should go left or go right. To the common folks, man and woman listening and watching, I think it a couple of things you have to figure out as to when it comes to a pay cut. First and foremost, particularly if you're like me and you're married, make sure everybody in your household is on board, meaning your wife or your husband, because you can't just agree to a pay cut and don't, tell
because you got sweet talk. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kyle, this would be great.
No, you better talk it over with the person at the crib.
That's
because
good. That's gems right there.
If you don't, it's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
2, you have to find areas where you're comfortable at cutting back, because like you said, in that same scenario, if we're talking 20 grand, I'm making 20 grand less. Because here's the thing, if you make $65,000 a year, generally speaking, you're going to live like somebody who makes $65,000 a year. And now there's some people who make $65,000 a year that live like they make $120,000 a year and they're hurting. But very few, it's not often where you make $65,000 a year and you live like you make $20,000 a year. That more often than not doesn't happen in people. So you have to determine where you're going to cut back. You're going to cut back on your entertainment. Are you going to cut back on going out and, having drinks with the guys and with your friends or whatever? Are you going to cut back on, maybe I have to pay off this debt and just to free up some money. And you gotta find ways. And then the last thing I'll say on this point is, you still have to also figure out how you're going to work towards savings, because that's big. You want to always I tell my kids all the time, you still want to save for a rainy day, because guess what? One day it's going to storm.
We say the F you fund. Yeah.
Yes.
Because life will throw you a sucker punch. You'll be like, F you. You'll be like, I was not prepared for that.
I remember when I first bought my house 20 years ago, my cousin he told me, hey man, always put some money on the side for your house. And I said, why is that? He said, because he said, you got to have a quote unquote shit gonna happen jar.
Yep.
And then you put that money in the shit gonna happen jar, because guess what? Shit's gonna happen at your house. Yeah. Your air conditioner's gonna go out, your water heater's gonna go out. Any and everything's gonna happen at some point in time. But you still have to try to save. So those things kind of come into play. And that's the game I would kind of pass on to those who are listening and watching. So I want to jump back to basketball real quick as far as Brunson is concerned. Again, $113 million. You've never seen it before, but let's just say Brunson takes the money, and to your scenario, like you said, Murph, he basically in taking that money, he's viewed as like you said, he's no longer a star, because superstars get paid that kind of money. So if you're a superstar, you're supposed to be the guy. So let's just say he bets on himself and says, hey, and let's just say he has a great year next year and he gets that contract, but is unable to deliver a championship. You know what it is, Murph? He might not be successful, but he will be what we call a legend at the bank.
Go on, take the money and run.
He will be a legend at the bank. So you watch a lot of basketball, just like me, huge NBA fan, huge college basketball fan. You play college basketball on the highest level. There's a level of pressure that comes with that. Do you think players like Jalen Brunson can adapt to it and deal with it? Or do you think particularly somebody like him playing?
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Even though he's a Philly kid playing in the Mecca of New York City, the Knicks, they're one of the NBA storied franchises. Do you think let's just say if he had that deal, he would still be able to deliver like he's been doing up until this point?
I agree. He will be. You know why?
Why is
It's
that?
not his performance, so to speak. It's his daddy as his backing. Thibodeau. We're going to have these conversations. It's my son.
Yeah.
This is my son.
Mm-hmm.
You knew before we left Dallas. He my son first.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do him bad.
Right.
And his father, Rick Brunson, has been in the league. He's a great mentor for him. If he didn't have that backing from his father, in turn has other great mentors around, Mr. Jalen Brunson, I think it'd have been tough. But because he has that backing, as you know, having that father or male role model, or just in general,
preach.
As far as the women out there having a woman role model, but just having that mentor or support is something that you can never take for granted or don't think is useful when it really is. Because Kyle, people that support me, love y'all, thank y'all. It makes a world of a difference.
It really does.
So because his father experience in the NBA, and as a man and as a professional athlete and a family man, able to juggle on and off the court, #Why Not Sports, he'll still be fine in that aspect.
What do you say to the fans? Because I think fans, at least some of these new age fans, have the idea that players are to give back money so that they can make the team better, when that's not their job. There's a general manager on every team that is responsible for handling and managing salaries. There's an owner that's responsible for handling and managing salaries. So why should the onus be on the player to make a personnel decision as to whether or not he or she should take more or less money? The thing I always say about sports is, and you and I have talked about this before in your podcast, sports is the best temporary job that you'll ever have. You have a very small window of your life to make an enormous amount of money, but none of that involves giving the money back. So what do you say to the fan that says, oh man, why didn't you take a pay cut so we could get, whoop-de-whoop to come to our team?
You just said it. It's temporary success. 5 or 10 years down the road, what is the odds that you would generally remember me, unless you were Mike, Kobe, LeBron? Murph, for these few years, was a Nick, or he was a hooper. Right. All right, on to the next young bunch.
That's it.
We talking about the Wembanyamas and the Caitlin Clarks. We're not talking about over 80% of the players now.
Mm-hmm. You know why, Murph? You know why? Because it's always going to be about the name on the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey. Always. That ain't ever changed. It ain't ever changed. So I'm not a fan of fans saying that somebody should give back money because look,
Yeah. I earned that.
Yeah, you fought to get here, and there's only, but especially if you look at the NBA, there's only 400 something people in the NBA. So you have a small window, maybe a 10, maybe if you're lucky, maybe 15 years to make a lot of money, and that money is, while it may sound crazy, that money has to last you a lifetime. But I mean, you get $100 million contract that can create generational wealth if you manage it correctly.
Right. And how much of our financial literacy is really on point? That's a whole nother story.
Hey, that's the episode of Why Not Sports, right? that's the episode for us to do right there. But yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. I think another question I wanted to ask. So, well, actually, before I ask the question, let me go into a scenario that I had a couple of years back. I was working for a company, and the company downsized, so we all got let go, right? And so I went 6 months without working, Murph. Now, by the grace of God, I had money stashed away. I did okay, got a little buyout or whatever, and I was able to pay off bills and stuff. So I wasn't, like
hurting.
I wasn't hurting. Food was still on the table.
Yeah.
But Murph, the first job offer that I got for the next job that I was going to take, and this is the only time this has ever happened. I applied online, like on Indeed, and they pulled my resume, interviewed, knocked out the interview, and they made me an offer, Murph. And I took the first. I didn't even negotiate. I didn't ask for anything. I took the first, and I knew, Murph, that the money, and of course it ain't about the money, but I also knew that I had to get back to work, right? Because I couldn't be sitting up here playing.
I'm looking at you like, hey, now,
right? I couldn't be sitting up in here, playing PlayStation all day. So, but I'll share this with y'all. I took the job, and once I started working there, even though it was a good job as far as the people and everything, and the job wasn't hard at all, I resented the job because I felt like from day one I should be making more. And then, especially at, most jobs are like this. At least before COVID happened, most jobs were like they don't want everybody to know how much everybody else is making. Like, oh, don't tell them, don't tell them you're making $5 an hour. Don't tell them that. And so you keep everybody ignorant. And it wasn't until COVID happened that we started to kind of get an idea, because because you think about it, you don't see the person who's sitting next to you, you don't see their check.
Yeah.
So I literally didn't, the young lady who I was cool with at work, I didn't know how much she made, and she didn't know how much I made. And one day she said something, and I did the math in my head, and I was like, she's making more than me. And Murph, I was livid. Not that she wasn't worthy of it, but it was just like, damn, I took a pay cut.
Yourself.
Yeah, I shortchanged myself. I took a pay cut, and these jokers around here and I'm better than them, and they making more than me. Murph, 2 months later, I was out of there. I was done.
But your worth, though. It's a lot of us that be like, well, it's gonna get better. They gonna look at me. All right, good luck with that. You started that way, you gonna end that way. Trust me. I'm not loyal to too many jobs now. I tell you that from experience. They give you more as an outsider anyway than from those who came up within. Unless you're in education. Right, you're not going to start off making, compared to somebody 20 years, you're not going to come in making what they make. No. Other than that, most careers, yeah, you're going to make more money.
Yeah, I always say, Murph, like everybody, unless you own, if you don't own the company, everybody's expendable. So, you could put in 30 years at this job if you want to. The first time that they got to cut people and let people go because the money's not coming in like how it used to.
Yeah.
There you go. They don't care about the 20 years that you spent. They don't care about the time that you spend in overtime and all that stuff. Like, they don't care about any of that stuff. It's all about numbers.
So why would I take that pay cut in the NBA? Exactly. They just want to win championships. Exactly. Once I'm done, I blow a knee out or I get injured and I'm sidelined. Now they taking money from me because I'm not producing or productive. Go ahead. I just have to throw that in.
No. That's a great point. And I also want to say to those who are listening and who may not be NBA fans, NBA contracts are guaranteed. So Jalen Brunson is guaranteed this 4 years for $156 million. He would have been guaranteed that $200-something million contract as well. So last question before we get out of here, Murph. What would be your advice to someone who is considering, like, let's say the company where they work, you work, we've talked about your job on and off here, before you got into the school system, as far as corporate America, they tap you on the shoulder. Hey, Murph, the numbers are kind of down. We might have to, we're letting some people go. We're not going to let you go, but we may have to kind of adjust.
That's the calm before the storm. That made me twitch when you said that. Now you're going to have to work harder. Hey, Kyle. Hey, I'm over here like, ooh, that brings back nightmares. Now you got to work multiple shifts and cover for these people that aren't productive and or the amount of staffing that they can allot for that particular shift or day. Wow. In the same amount of time. So you working for 2.5 people in the field of logistics, field of warehousing,
and not
in the Fortune 500 company. Hey, but to your point,
and not
I got to backtrack.
Go ahead.
Before I answer that question.
Do you think
Ben Simmons, kid has great talent? All I'm gonna say is if you can end on the contract like Ben Simmons, you've hit the jackpot. I'll leave it like that. Because I don't know when the last time he really played or started and gave us a double-double.
Murph, I think it's been about 3 years. I think it's been that long.
That check still coming in too.
Yeah.
Oh, he in the pro-ams hooping.
Yeah, the direct deposit when you have these guaranteed contracts, that direct deposit hitting every Tuesday. So you're not missing no checks. So they gotta pay. That's the difference between them and us. Us common folk. Now we have to work for our checks. They have signed contracts to say, hey, no matter what happens, if you get hit by a bus, we're gonna pay you this 4 years, $156 million contract. So, but yeah, I didn't mean to trigger you just now,
man. Because I sure remember that, and I'm at the crib like kids, family. Boo! I gotta switch my shift.
So what would you, before we get out of here, what would you tell the young person, the 25-year-old that's listening, fresh out of college, out of grad school, listening to DMurph and 12 Kyle talk about this and talk about pay cuts and salaries? What advice would you give to them starting out in the quote unquote real world?
Keep a solid group of people around you that are solid people, and don't be stuck or locked to one company because it's a competition. It's a competition. Don't think if you work for FedEx, you don't think Amazon willing to pay you. Yeah. If you work for UPS, you don't think FedEx or DHL want to pay you. If you work for Delta Airlines, you don't think Southwest going to want to pay you because you have the experience. It's so many companies for each genre to where you can play the field. You can be your own free agent without having to pay an agent so you can get paid. Unless you're just tired of that career path, then you go for something else. But it's just not one company for that genre of work or field of work. So keep an open mind. And I have your resume updated every 6 months, just in case you get that tap on the shoulder. Hey, Murph. Hey, man, so-and-so just got promoted, moving to the East or West Coast. You're the next man up. Even though I know y'all not going to promote me. But we need somebody to fill in, train the new guy, or just kind of hold it down until we find a replacement. Because either you don't fit what they like as a person, even though your work speaks for itself. That's another whole conversation, but it happens. I'm going to give you the cons before I give you the pros. Be prepared for the cons and how you're going to handle it. If they keep picking at you and you busting your butt and you still don't see the results or the reap of your benefits.
Got deuces.
Like Kyle said, I know my worth.
Yeah, I know my worth. And knowing is half the battle. I don't care if you have to do Google searches. I don't care if you have to go around your office or go around your company and say, hey, what do you make? I'm trying to make as much as you. I'm trying to make more than you because I think I do my job better than you do yours. I ain't hating, but I want more money.
Yep.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. Always.
And then one last thing too, brother. Once you are on your way out or your exit strategy, don't even let them know you quitting.
There you go.
Don't even downplay your work. Don't even, fuck you, boss. I don't even like my coworkers. I don't even like the job. Put that same smile, count your blessings. You here to breathe and see another day and keep applying. Then you hit them with, by the way, Mr. Lewis or whoever the boss is.
Right.
Yeah, I really appreciate my time here. I'm giving you 2 weeks. Because guess what? Sometimes you don't even get to fulfill your 2 weeks because they letting you go anyway.
Well, thanks, but no thanks.
Do what's best for you, young man or young woman.
And you know,
big homie out.
You know, it's funny, Murph. You mentioned that about the 2 weeks. That same job that I told you that I left. I didn't even give them a 2 week notice.
Okay.
And they said it was like a week and a half or whatever. And I could have pushed my start date back, but I didn't want to push it back. And so my supervisor, who is a black woman, she's really cool. And that was one of the few companies I've ever been to in corporate America where my supervisor was a black woman and her boss was a black woman as well. She said, well, you understand that we have a company policy that if you don't, perform your 2 week notice, that you can't come back. And I looked at dead in the face.
You ain't got to worry about it.
I looked at dead in the face, Murph. I said, no disrespect. And when somebody says no disrespect, disrespect's about to come behind it. Yeah. I said, no disrespect, but I'm never coming back here. Yeah. I was like, if I fall on hard times, I won't apply here. You won't have to. They had
to pull that on you too. That's good, brother. That's good.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm not. Trust me, there's thousands of fish in the sea. And let's say if the sea dries up, I'll find another sea.
Absolutely. That's good.
This ain't going to be it because you lowball me and you lowball me. So nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good stuff, man, Murph. That is, we have wrapped this one up. Before we get out of here, Murph, man, tell folks where they can find you, where they can check out your podcast.
If y'all really enjoyed me, as I clear my throat, I've been putting in work today with this brother, 12 Kyle, on the 12 Kyle podcast. You can find me on Twitter, X at DMurph, Instagram at DMurph. Check out the website, www.dmurphspeaks.com. Why Not Sports on Instagram at Why Not Sports _. The Real Flagrant 2 at Flagrant 2 Pod _ Just leave me a note, hit me up, and let's keep working, man. Year 8 in this thing in podcasting. I love what we do and keep giving out gems and nuggets. And I'm just glad to be a part, of this journey with you. And I hope at least one person can gain something, from this show to where, they can take it and pass it along.
Oh, I know they will.
Having me too, brother.
Oh no, man. Anytime, bro. I appreciate you for coming on. And this was, something off the top that we did. And I appreciate it because that's how we do.
Yeah,
we
just
flow like that. So
it was good.
Yes.
It was good.
For those of you listening, if you haven't figured out by now, you can check out the 12 Kyle podcast every Thursday, every Sunday. A new episode drops at midnight. The podcast, you can find it anywhere you get podcasts. You can follow me on socials at 12 Kyle, at 12 Kyle podcast on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has both audio and video. And that's 12 Kyle podcast YouTube channel. And hit us up if you want to contribute financially. We got a merch link that's in the description box. Click that. We got 12 Kyle podcast t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, posters, you name it. We got it for a very low price. And last but not least, if you want to hit us up, throw a couple of dollars our way. I'll catch them. Cash App, $.
You did play wide receiver, didn't you?
There you go. $TWELVEKYLE. Again, that's going to do it for us. So for my boy DMurph, I am your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.
Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Share the podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle podcast in their life. Every listen, every share, and every subscription helps us grow. So, go ahead, subscribe now and share it with a friend. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. We appreciate your support. 5,000.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.